Hello and welcome. This is my video as a VR to Nancy Texas Rose, What's in My Purgatory Box. A little bit of a, let's have a little bit of a story time. I had a big tarot binge, Oracle deck binge year in 2018. I moved a lot of merchandise in 2018, like into my home. And then I had a depth year in 2019 that was specifically about stopping bringing anything new into my life in terms of all my interests. And that was good. It gave me a chance to go through the stuff I had accumulated, whether it was decks, whether it was also other things that are not, if you need to know, it was stuff like makeup and fragrance and stuff like that. But here we're focusing on decks. So I had put all that stuff I had acquired in 2018, I had put them in boxes. In 2019, I was reevaluating them as the year went on. And I think I moved out two boxes of Oracle and Tarot decks. You know? Impulse purchases. What I'm going to share with you today is a couple of new ones that just did not make the cut, and some old ones that I'm finally going to move out. So I have, like, for me it's a two-part. There's the decks that were in the purgatory box that have now moved on, and I'm putting them on the bus to a new home because clearly I don't use them. And like Nancy and some other people who will be doing this video, I think my goal is to cut down what I have to the ones that I really truly love. I'm not a collector, so I don't garner pleasure from just owning decks that I don't use, and that's because I'm not a collector. And it's interesting. See, I'm a perfume collector, but I guess I really am not a collector because I only have in that collection the fragrances I love and enjoy using. So we have that. I wish I knew a collector locally, because I would just say, come and get this stuff, because it's a bit of a hassle, you know. Like, I'm probably just going to give it away when it's time to move decks on. But I'm going to show you first the ones that are going on the bus because they need to find a new home. They were coming out of the purgatory box. They sat in purgatory for a while, and some of them are a little surprising because one I just got. And it terrible. One, I just received it probably less than a month ago. And some other ones I've had for a while, and it's time to move them on. Here's the thing. If you're interested in any of the decks that I'm moving on, you need to understand one thing. Postage within Canada and to the United States for something this heavy is a minimum $20. That's $25 in Canadian, $20 US. So know that. And that's why I'm a little, what's the word? Reticent to, you know, put them up for sale or anything like that. Also, honestly, barring two, they're readily available. All of these. Like, you know, you can get them anywhere. The first one, all right, let's start. So these are the ones that came out of, I pulled them out of the purgatory box, and they're going to go into a giveaway box. These are, they spent time in purgatory for a long time. Some of these, I've had them for a long time. I used them a lot when I first got them, and we'll talk about them as I talk about them. This one I got in a trade. This is the Animal Kin Oracle. I work a lot with animal medicine, with animal spirits, with animal energy. A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. My When I look at my deck collection, my deck collection consists of traditional animals and fairies. But I have to say that this one just does not do it for me. It took me a while to figure out because I'm thinking, so let's talk about, like, this is beautiful. It's very beautiful. My understanding is Animal Kin Oracle by Sarah Wilder was originally independently produced, and then it was picked up by Hay House. Cute little guidebook, a little chunky guidebook. Usually these guidebooks are a little misleading because they're chunky because they use 2 pages when they could use one. But anyway, sorry, we're not talking about that. Okay, so chunky guidebook, really beautiful box, 2-part box. This is not for me. This is the Oracle equivalent of the Lightseers Tarot for me. It's too boho. It's very boho. I think this would pair really well if you work with the Lightseers Tarot and you want an animal oracle to go with it. I think this would pair beautifully with the Lightseers. I had the Lightseers. I enjoyed. I thought it read really well. It just wasn't my aesthetic, and I moved it along. So this one, I held on to this one because it bugged me, because it was animals and I couldn't understand what it was about it that didn't work for me. But I literally have not touched it. I haven't used it. Look, it's brand new. It's brand new. The person who gave it to me probably never worked with it either. So, like, who gave it to me in a swap? I don't know what it is. The art style is nice. It's just not my thing. I'm not using it. I'm not ever going to use it. The next one. This one. This is an example of one that I just got recently. I got the Wheel of the Year Tarot because of the backs. I didn't even watch it flip through. I saw these backs and I thought, I need to have these in my life. Now I have to say, and it's gonna come up a lot. Like right now in the ones that are leaving my collection, that are going on the bus to a new home. Lo Scarabeo features in 2 decks. 2 decks are Lo Scarabeo. But I have to say that Lo Scarabeo, I'm not buying any more Lo Scarabeo decks. And I'll tell you why. I find that I'm drawn to Lo Scarabeo decks. They are readily available. They have Lo Scarabeo has a tarot deck for whatever your fancy is. And then I don't end up using them. Barring, I think there's one. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I don't end up working with them very long. It's like I like them at first, and then, like, my Voices of Saints is a Lo Scarabeo deck. I'm surprised, but it's not a tarot deck, so maybe that's why I'm still using it. But this one, I got it for the backs. Bad on my part, because I tried. I even edged mine in orange. I tried working with this deck, and there's something about it that just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know if it's the artwork. It's very Rider-Waite Smith. Potentially, like, if you're one of those people that hates having the white border and I had thought of trimming it, but then it would trim the backs, which I literally bought this deck for the backs. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm not sure what it is about this deck that I find off-putting. I've read with it, and when I read with it, it gives clear readings, clear messages. Yet I find the aesthetic of it off-putting, and I don't know if it's what it is. I can't even tell you, but I don't use it. I don't use it. Like I said, when I force myself to use it, I'll look at it and go, oh wow, like, you know, that's a clear reading. This is a judgment card. I don't know what to tell you people, but I don't use it, so it's gotta go. And I don't foresee myself using it. This really is a case of I got wooed by the beautiful backs, and I really didn't. Normally I do a lot of research before I buy that. This was an impulse purchase because I kept seeing the backs and going, oh my god, I love those backs. I need that in my life. Couple of Hay House decks. Did I already have? Yeah, I already showed you the Animal Oracle, Animal Kin Oracle. Here's one I've had for a long time. Here's one I've had for a long time. I've featured it in videos. I think, like, you know, my my theme kind of videos about certain different kinds of decks. I never use it, and it's the Carolyn Mace archetype cards. Now I love Carolyn Mace, and I listen to her. I have I have like all her best stuff on Audible, in my Audible library. And I love her Audible on archetypes. But I have had these cards, I couldn't even tell you how long, and I never used them. Never, ever used them. Never. And they gotta go. This might even be the second one I own. I think I may have owned one way back when it first came out and passed it along, then I missed it, so I got a new one, and I still don't use it. It's the next one I've had for a while. I've had this one since it came out, I have to see, and it's one of those decks where Gina de la Grottalia is the artist. And I just want to see what year this is. 2013, yeah. And this was one of those oracle card decks that I used a lot for reading for other people, reading for the public. As like, you know, you have your tarot reading, and then let's say an oracle card for clarification or to answer a question. And I featured this not too long ago. And it's not that I hate it. I don't use it. And it's the Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. I didn't use these at all this year for readings for other people or myself. I find it an interesting deck in terms, the artwork cracks me up, okay? I love this card. But I don't use it, and it sits on my shelf, or all year it sat in the purgatory box. And even in the purgatory box, it occupies space in my mind. It's only once I decide the fate of something that then I can relax, and this is like it's a whole mental conversation. So I'm looking through these and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, these give great readings. I don't use it. However, now that I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, you know what? These guys are probably going to go back into the purgatory box because I'm not sure. The next one is Fantastical Creatures Tarot by Lisa Hunt. I don't know what it is with me and Lisa Hunt tarot decks. I love her art, but these cards are too small with these gigantic borders already. And it's just too small to see everything. And I'm going to paraphrase a review I read on French Amazon. They're samey. All the cards in her decks are samey because, well, there's the art style, and then there's the fact that all these cards look the same when you look at them. And there's so much detail, but the card is just too small. I just don't enjoy them. This is the second Fantastical Creatures Tarot. I move on. The second one. I gotta stop. So part of, honestly, the selfish reason for recording this video and uploading it is so that when I get into my head that, oh my God, I missed that Fantastical Creatures Tarot, I need to get my hands on one, that I could rewatch this video, because Grace, it's the second one that you move on. The next one, I just got this one. I just featured it in my Systemless Tarot, System Free Tarot, #VR to Natalia. Well, after I featured it in that video, I spent a little time with it. And this is a mess. I just can't. I wished I had watched Peekaboo Rose's review of this deck before I bought it. Because I agree 100% with what she said. So yeah, this one I'm not even going to give it too much time in this video because disappointing. And this is one that I don't know why I was obsessing over it. Like, anyway. The next two, this one is Cosmic Laws Oracle by Wasima Tuaria. Or, yeah, Tuaria. Sorry, Wasima. And it doesn't connect with me. I think there's a PDF guidebook or guide sheet that goes with this deck. I reached out to Wasima and I asked her if it was possible, because she sent this to me this was a gift. She sent it to me in my order when I ordered the Philarcos and the Tarot Fauna from her store. And she included this as a gift with purchase, as, you know, a kindness. No guidebook, no guide sheet. I reached out to her a little while after I had received it, and I said, hey, is it possible to get the PDF emailed to me of this? She replied with, she's sure, like someone who works for her, whatever, I can't remember what she said, but that someone connected to her had already sent me the PDF. I checked my email, it's not there, people. I did receive a PDF guidebook of Tarot Fauna from the creator, which was amazing, but no guidebook, and I just don't know. I guess I could use it as an oracle with these keywords. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. And yeah, it reminds me of those Orasoma cards. And like I said, it's hard to read with the, like, they obviously have some kind of structure because they're divided by suits or something, categories or whatever, but so I don't even know. Could you imagine? I guess if someone came, you know, anyway, I don't know what to say. Next. All right. This one, this hoary old chestnut, this, I'm finally ready to let it go. It sits on my shelf. I don't do anything with it. It's the author of, I think, the Big Book of Stones, or the Book of Stones, or whatever. I have her book. I have Neisha Asian's, her name's a palindrome, Book of Stones on my Kindle. Okay, I think I've looked at it a couple of times. I have Melody's Magic is in the Earth. No, Love is in the Earth. Magic is in the Earth. I'm going to have to do a VR to Natalia's spiritual addiction video. Because because I have some things to say about tools and stuff like that. That for me, my life has changed a lot. My practice is anyway. What I'm trying to say is that this is a deck. The guidebook is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The lady, she's totally into her crystals, but the cards, I don't find myself using it. I think because I hate the art on the cards. It's extremely accurate, but I don't know. I feel like I should read the whole guidebook, or at least pick some random entries in the guidebook, because maybe it's just a question of all the entries are relatable. It's very new agey, but it had been sitting. First it sat on my shelf with all my other oracles. Then I moved it up to the top of my bookshelf in my bedroom, where I keep my tarot and oracle decks, alongside the empty boxes of the decks I'm actually using. And you know what? I didn't reach up once in the last year to use it, so it's got to go. So that was 22 minutes of the decks that were in my purgatory box that I'm moving out, that have moved out of the purgatory box to make room for a bunch of new ones. Now, if I were to say, look at the timestamp on this video, people. It's a long one. I'm going to define what the purgatory box is for me. The purgatory box, for what I use it for, is where I store decks that I'm not using. The ones that I didn't like at all didn't even go in the purgatory box. They went straight away. The ones that I thought I would eventually love, and the ones that I, keep obtaining, go in the purgatory box. But literally, this box is full, and look at the size of the lid, people. If you live in Canada, where there's London Drugs, it's the largest of these boxes, these velour boxes that they sell at London Drugs. Okay. I'm going to show you what my purgatory box looks like. This is my purgatory box. Now, in here, I've placed, maybe purgatory is not the right name, because these are not decks I plan to get rid of. These are the ones that I find are occupying too much space up here right now on my shelf. When I see them, I'm feeling overwhelmed. These are decks that I have loved, still love, but just have not been using, or just recently used a lot, and now I need a break from. So I'm going to go quicker through this video, because this part of the video, because these are all staying, but I need to put them away. They got to go to sleep for a little while, because Mama needs a rest. This is nap time. These It's like, think of it as when you know, if you have children when they were little, and it's time for them to go for nap time, so mama can have a break. So again, these are just the decks that I put away. I'm putting away today. There's probably some more I'm going to pull off my shelf. They don't fit in this box. I'm just going to put them back in their original boxes. Some that are top of mind is Tarot the Hidden Realm. I'm not using it, but I spent a little time with it yesterday, and it's not that I don't love it. I just am not feeling like using it right now. So there's some there's some tarot decks that are still on my shelf that are just going to go back into their original boxes in order to go to sleep for a little while. And I'm just hanging on to the decks I use for general readings for the public. So my Rider-Waite, my Morgan Greer, my Thoth deck, the Oracle decks I generally use. I generally use the same ones all the time. I'm using the Ocean Oracle, the Vintage Wisdom Oracle for readings for the public. For reading for myself, I'm using my Animal Wise Tarot. So I find my shelf is a lot quieter now since I just pulled out all these decks that I'm not currently using. So without talking still too much about stuff that I'm not getting rid of, let's start with Tarot of the Trees is one. I used it a lot in the spring, and it's going for a nap now until I feel moved to use it again. The Plant Spirit Oracle by the same creator. I did mention not feeling it that much at this time, but I don't want to get rid of any kind of plant oracles or animal oracles until I'm absolutely sure, like I am with the Animal Kin, because they tend to be like my go-to kind of oracles. So that's going to sleep. Then I have all my Doreen Virtue. If you've been watching me for 5 minutes, I'm unapologetic. I received a lot of these as gifts from people who love me. And I received, and often the reason they got these for me is because they were readers as well. And they thought it might help me be a little softer with the delivering of the message. I'm very tarot in the way that I communicate people's readings, and it's these oracle decks that taught me to be a little gentler with delivering news, information, what have you. Sorry about that, and I'm back. Okay, so like I was saying, I have unapologetic. I have Doreen Virtue decks. I am not getting rid of them because I got them as gifts from people who love me, and they were helpful in teaching me how to deliver messages, heavier messages, more gently. So what I have is here we go. So, La Vie Passée, Past Lives. Yeah. Magical Unicorns. The Magical Mermaids and Dolphins. There's a Hay House currently has this beautiful mermaids, messages from the mermaids deck. Queen Osset, Oya's Girl, her channel is Oya's Girl, did a beautiful walkthrough of it. And when she showed all her other mermaid decks, she, excuse me, my dog is barking. Sorry, my dog was distracting me. Okay, so Queen Osset does a beautiful walkthrough of the messages from the mermaids. Oh my god, I can never remember the creator's name, but I'll link to her video in the description box below. I hope I remember. If I don't, leave a comment. And I had gotten that new one, and it was beautiful. The only reason I had to move it along was that there was too much motion in it for me. It's a beautiful deck, but this is a comment about how nice the art is, how well done the art is. That for me, it's like the water was swirling in all those cards. Beautiful. These I keep because they were given to me by someone who loves me, and they're, you know, sentimental. Another one I keep because it was given to me by someone who loves me. Well, all of them, so I might as well just like, the only two I purchased are the ones that I talked about in my previous video. Those are 3 that I purchased. So it's this thing, the Healing with the Fairies Oracle, with like the stapled guidebook. This is like early Doreen Virtue. Interestingly enough, I have used these kind of decks when working in an environment like with students, to have something on my desk, either as a conversation starter or something to, you know, get their mind off their worries or whatever. They could pick their oracle card of the day. And I think that's why I hang on to them, because they're tied to those memories. I don't really turn to them, like they're not oracle decks I really use. This one was a daily draw deck for me for quite some time. It was on my desk, and I have to say that I have like fond feelings for this one. I'm never gonna get rid of it. Hay House was so good too. So I ran over the first card, the original card in the deck for Nematona. I ran over it with my office chair, and I emailed Hay House and told them, oh my gosh, I ran over the card with my office chair. Is there any way I could purchase a replacement? And they sent me one for free. So that was pretty cool. That was many years ago. I don't even, like, since this is no longer in print, I don't think. But this was a beloved deck of a lot of people. It's still a favorite, like, you know, when you look on YouTube and all that, and even like, you know, people like on social media in general, it's still a favorite. So I think it's going for crazy stupid. All of these Doreen Virtue decks, on now that they're out of print on Amazon, they're going for crazy stupid expensive. I don't think anybody's gonna pay that much money for them, but you never know, right? People have the right to do whatever they want with their own money. This one, the Ascended Masters. I think this one I bought it at my local metaphysical shop, because I had gone in there. I had what I call spiritual malaise. You know, it's like when I went into the local metaphysical store, which is not even like my kind of place. I don't like the vibe in that store. They don't really cater to my metaphysical needs. I needed to buy something, you know, it's, again, there's a video coming up about that. So I purchased this one, and next thing I know, this one, Doreen Virtue goes on publicly to say like this, to burn this one with the Goddess deck or whatever, the Ascended Masters, and I paid it like $20-something, and then suddenly it was something stupid outrageous online for these. I've read for people, for the public. I have used these 2 oracle decks when reading for the public, and they're just crazy accurate. It is what it is, people. They're crazy accurate. You could say what you want. You could dislike the creator, or the creator could divorce from the community and do whatever it is that she wants to do. A tool is a tool. Once it's in your possession, it belongs to you. It is part of your arsenal, and it doesn't matter. If you have them and you enjoy them, continue using them. So that's all my, oh no, that's not all my Doreen Virtue. Imagine. I have one more. So I already mentioned Loving Words from Jesus, Mary Oracle, Queen of Angels Oracle, and the Guardian Angel Tarot in my previous video. This is the other one that I have. I have her tarot decks, and it's the Fairy Tarot cards. I've seen reviews of this one over the years. This too I received as a gift. So you see, there's that, right? There's the sentimentality of receiving them as gifts, but they're also tied to certain events. I used to have this on my desk, and it was everybody was okay with pulling a card from the Fairy Tarot cards. And so I have seen reviews on this one. It criticizes it, saying that it's really badly made, that the art is bad, and I'm thinking, are they talking about the same deck? Because I find her Angels Tarot to be just horrendous. I'm sorry, whoever the artist or artists are for that deck, ugliness. It's really bad. The suit of water for her Angel Tarot, which now is Radley Valentine's Angel Tarot. First of all, I think it's the 9 of Cups, or the 9 of Water, that has Doreen's face as on one of the mermaids, or on the mermaid. And I just find that artwork is really hit and miss. Like, the suit of water is just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. This is cute. It's whimsical. It's weird. Love it. But again, maybe because of who... Maybe it has a lot to do with who gave it to me. So you see, this box is decks that are going to sleep. I may never use these Doreen Virtue decks again. But I like to visit them because I get to visit the people who got them for me. Here's a deck that's in the Sleepy Time box. I received this in a trade. Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards. I am having such... People love this deck. It's beloved. Okay? This is a beloved deck. I think the artwork, Lily Moses, her artwork is freaking beautiful. I have difficulty connecting with this deck, but look at this, and I worked hard at it too. Look at this edging job, okay, to match the colors on the backs. I have difficulty connecting with this deck, but sometimes when the mood strikes and I do pull this one out, it really hits the mark. So that's why I'm keeping it. Also, I think it's beautiful. And there's room in the Sleepy Time box, nap time box for it. So what can I say? And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I do read for the public, that, you know, sometimes I'll get a request for a reading and a thought will pop in my head and say, oh, for this reading, this oracle deck would pair really nice with that tarot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, so that's why I hang on to some. Here's a tarot deck that's in the Sleepy Time box. This is my second one. The first one I got, I passed on to my daughter because I couldn't connect with it. This one I'm hanging on to, and I put in the Sleepy Time box because, first of all, the production quality of this US Games deck is like beyond any US Games deck I own. Okay, the card stock, the 2-part box, the whole thing. The reason why I had to put this deck away is that I seem to be drawn to this deck when I'm having a hard time with things. And therefore, this deck, these images have become sad. You know what I'm saying? The same way that the original Rider-Waite, like in the plaid back, I can't read with that. I read with the Centennial. But if I see the images of of an original from the 80s plaid back, it's up here, sad, and sad, struggle, suffering. Anyway, this, I think it's because when I got this deck, I was going through a lot of hard stuff. And unfortunately now these images, to me, and it just seems that I'm drawn to them whenever I'm going through some hard stuff, that all I see is some sadness when I look at, oh, look at this. Here's an example. This is nice. You know what I mean? Like, these are, yeah. But they're beautiful. And I feel like they read really clearly. Like, I even was going to, chop the titles off because I've seen them with the titles chopped off and they look even more gorgeous. But right now, they gotta go to sleep. Because right now, they just make me sad. Make me remember feeling sad. One that I just got this summer, that's going straight in the go to sleep box, is this one. Because I wanted Whispers of the Ocean since I saw a walkthrough on Lavender Moon. Amber Lavender Moon did a walkthrough of this deck. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love animals. I love the sea. I love sea creatures. This is a stunning, the artwork is stunning in this deck. But I'm not using it right now. And I'm afraid of, and it sits on my, not afraid, but it sits on my shelf. And I keep looking at it thinking, oh, I'm not using it. I should move it along when I don't want to. So to quiet the mental chatter, it went into the sleepy time box, the nap time box. We're almost done, people. I got some other tarot decks here in my sleepy time box. And it's my John Bauer tarot, which I dropped and busted the box, so I'll have to tape up the box because I actually love this tuck box. My John Bauer tarot and my tarot, The Secret Forest. Just because I'm not currently using them, and I need to quiet the mental chatter. My shelf has to not. In my head when I look at it, my tarot shelf, that is. Another one that's in the sleepy time box. This one, I had this one previously. I moved it along. This is the second one. This is not going anywhere, but I'm not using it right now, and it's in the sleepy time box. One that I used all year since I got it, and now is in the sleepy time box just because I'm not currently using it, and I don't want to be tempted to move it along because it's on my shelf chattering to me. And that's probably what it is, right? So I took my advice. I took the advice of Shamanic Arawak Priestess to heart. She said just put them away. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting them away. They're going to sleep. So they're not doing this on the shelf. Jody Bergsma, Spirit of the Animals Oracle. So you see, there's a bit of a theme here. I like fairies. I like earth-centered spirituality. I like plants. I like animals. This is a beautiful deck. I'll just show you a couple of cards because I'm sure you've seen it. This is a beautiful deck, but I'm not currently using it. So it's going in the sleepy time box because, again, I don't want to compulsively get rid of it and then regret it. And that's the point of this whole exercise. Another deck that I love, I'm just not using I'm not using lately, so it's going to sleep, is the Shaman's Oracle. I'm still using the Mystical Shaman's Oracle, the one by Colette Baron Reed, Alberto Villoldo, and someone Lobos. Nice lady. Can't remember her name. I don't know if it's Melissa Lobos or something. Anyway, I'm using that Oracle deck right now. Still, like, it's still in use. Like, not every day, but it's in use. This one I haven't used for a little bit. I'm just gonna put it away because this one I know that if I move it along, I'm gonna miss it. And last, oh no, I have two more. My Wisdom Keepers. This is a deck that I don't use often, but when I'm in the mood to use it, I'm so freaking happy I have it. Someone who loves me got it for me in America because it just wasn't shipping to Canada. I got this I think last year or the year before, and I hang on to it because it's special because of the person who had it shipped to their house on my behalf and then mailed it to me. My sorella Donna got this for me. And because it's not the kind of deck that you do a daily draw with, but when you need to do some deep inner work, I'm really happy to own it. Mine is the one that's in color. I think the first edition was black and white. Look at these beautiful faces. The first edition was black and white, and this one is in color. And there's a card here that's a mirror where you're a wisdom keeper. Anyway, love it, love it. But I'm currently not. I'm currently not using it. I don't want it to be on my shelf. Creating mental chatter where I'll compulsively get rid of something. And this is what, again, I mentioned it before, like earlier in the video. Actually, probably just a couple of minutes ago. This is what this is all about, people. I'm hoping my video helps someone out there who's feeling this strong desire to purge their entire collection. It's the mental chatter that that the stuff around you is causing. Store it, put it away, put them to sleep. Nap time. Another deck, honestly, I haven't really used it since I got it. Or maybe I used it a couple of times, and when I did use it a couple of times, it was really good. But I don't use it frequently because you do need to use the guidebook for it, and I have to be in the mood for something that relies heavily on the guidebook. And it's this one, Divine Muses Oracle. Look at this chunky guidebook. So this one's going to sleep, and I'll show you what the cards look like. It has a similar aesthetic to, oh, you know what's missing from here that I know I had put in the box to sleep, but maybe because I ended up using it recently, is my Stretch Tarot. I use that a lot for readings for the public, and I think I'm a little stretched out. So, but this is what these cards look like. They have a similar aesthetic to the Vintage Wisdom Oracle and the Stretch Tarot, although I don't, which is interesting. I thought I would enjoy using the Stretch Tarot with the Vintage Wisdom Oracle and then the Divine Muses Oracle, but instead, no, I do not. I like using these on their own. Same thing with the Stretch Tarot. When I'm using the Stretch Tarot, I'm not likely to use the Vintage Wisdom by Victoria Mosley. At the same time. But I do love this aesthetic, the old vintage photograph collage aesthetic. When it's well done, it's I think it's my favorite for cards. The Stretch Tarot, I have to put it away a little bit because I think I'm needing something a little less direct. if you own the Stretch Tarot, you probably know what I mean. The Stretch Tarot doesn't mince words. And with what's going on, a lot of the readings I'm doing, the Stretch Tarot is a little, not harsh, but it's a little too much. So that's it. 50 minutes. I showed you what's moving on and the stuff that, and the decks that are just going to sleep for a little while. I'm probably going to pull some other ones off my shelf and just put them away and just pare it my shelf right down to the decks I'm currently using for myself and for the public, and putting everything else away. Again, just to quiet the mental chatter, and to prevent myself from compulsively destashing, which I have done before. And when I have in the past compulsively destashed, let's say it's not a lot, but I ended up replacing 10% of what I destashed. And had I just hung on to it, I wouldn't have had to replace it. And some of them a little hard to replace. Like right now I'm waiting in the mail for 2 decks that I'm replacing that I had originally destashed. One of them, well, you'll see it when it arrives. I'll share it with you. And so one of them is like, I destashed a really old, like I destashed a vintage copy and got myself just a current one because whatever, right? I'm not going to chase after a vintage copy, and when it's currently in print. And another deck that I sold, I ended up repurchasing. So yeah, the whole point of this exercise is, again, if I can help anyone out there, quiet the mental chatter. If you're feeling overwhelmed by your collection, box it up, put it in drawers, put it in a cupboard, store your stuff, and come back to it later, because sometimes all we need is to turn off the mental chatter. And the compulsive urge to purge sometimes really is just that need to stop the information input. On top of putting my decks in the sleepy time box, in the nap time box, I deleted all my wish lists. The only wish list I left up was that there's a couple of things I'm looking for, and it's on my About tab on my YouTube. Not likely to get to find those anywhere anyway, but they sit there just to have something to say. Just to have something that if I do come across it, it'll remind. I think, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a Golden Rider tarot. That's the funky one. It looks like it's from the 70s, but I'm pretty sure it was from the 90s, the one with the gold and pink backs. And I'm looking for the guidebook of the Ancestral Path Tarot, because I freaking love my Ancestral Path Tarot deck. And that's a guidebook I'm actually interested in reading what the creator wrote in the guidebook. So, but all my Amazon wish list, blank. Everything is book depository. The Word document I was maintaining on my desktop with my Etsy wish list, all of it's gone. Everything's gone. And oh, what a relief, people. What a relief. Anyway, that's it for me. If you stuck around this long for this video, thank you. I really enjoy visiting with you, even though, visiting, you know what I mean, right? It's really nice to record a video, and I imagine that I'm at least talking to one person, right, that's out there and that's interested in what I have to say, and I am very grateful for you. Just know that. And So again, it was really nice visiting with you, talking about this. In the comments below, please share with me, are you feeling malaise? Pandemic fatigue? Are you feeling tarot burnout? Because it may not be tarot that you're burned out with. It could just be all the decks, all you know, the quantity. Maybe it's not the practice of reading tarot that you're burned out with. It could just be the acquiring of new decks, seeing new decks, and all that stuff. Have you destashed and repurchased? Have you like compulsively destashed and then had to repurchase? Have you stored your decks and felt the relief of the quieting of the mental chatter? Please share. I'd love to read your comments. I'm trying, I try really hard to keep up with the comments, and I appreciate all of them. I will eventually get to them. Sometimes I know I'm responding. You might be wondering, like, what the heck? I'm responding to comments from months ago, but I really care what you have to say. So, yeah, as I have time, I do like to answer comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful day.